Last week in the Lenovo Pro Series, we saw a late race restart, which saw Matthew Hall blow it in the final couple of corners, and it ended up being Juan Rodriguez getting his second win in the last 3 races to kick off the 2025 season. But here tonight, we are back on the short track, and it's a much higher speed short track, and it is Bristol, baby. It is race number 4 of the 2025 Lenovo Pro Series season for the Tractor Supply Co. 200 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Hello everyone, it is Nathan here, and welcome to Pro Series Night in America. And it is race number 4 already on the 2025 season. And what a first 3 races it has been at Daytona, Darlington, and Toledo. And we gotta see how this one shakes out at Bristol. And we thought Toledo had some fast speeds. Well, that does not compare to Bristol Motor Speedway here tonight. And we gotta see how it all goes down for 50 laps with these 26 drivers. And we got a packed booth. We got Matthew Hubert, owner of Vision Motorsports, and the car owner that sells on pole here tonight. And we got local Dawn, the winning team owner in the last 2 races here in the Lenovo Pro Series. Welcome, and Matthew, I'm going to start with you. This is a very tricky racetrack at Bristol Motor Speedway, but it's also very track position dependent. So for the drivers starting inside the top 10 and mostly starting on the inside lane, how important is it for them to stay on the inside, and how important is it for the drivers starting on the outside to get to the inside lane as soon as possible?
Well, they'll need to hope to keep it clean first off. You never know what you're going to expect at Bristol. The only thing I'm going to say is that I hope it stays caution-free like in the Sprint Series race back in April, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we gotta see of how it goes down. The Sprint Series race went caution-free, and we'll see if this one does. Of course, Sprint Series did have a wet, but no caution in that one. And that really derailed the championship for Hallian's and Jr., who started off the season very well. And speaking of someone that started the season very well is Juan Rodriguez, and he's won 2 out of the first 3, and last week he won for Local's team, and both of the cars started not in ideal positions. BP starts in the 8th position on the outside lane, and then Mark Richardson starts all the way back in the 17th position on the inside lane. So if you want your team to go 3 in a row, what do the drivers need to do to get the way up to the front?
I think they will first of all need a good start and to keep it clean. And second of all, we are honestly going to need a bit of luck. Because seeing our starting positions, our best bet is to get to the inside line and hope for the best and hope that something crazy happens and we can sail into P1 and win this race.
And knowing Bristol, it can get a little bit crazy sometimes, and we gotta wait and see if it does get crazy or if it ends up being calm, just like the Sprint Series race earlier in the year. And it's Juan Rodriguez still the point lead, and he actually has a pretty sizable point lead. BP released second in the point standing, 17 points behind. There's a lot of confusion with the signs a couple weeks ago, but last week with Bristol signs, there was no confusion, I should say, and we got a lot of the championship contenders back that did not race at Toledo, and one of them is Mark Richardson in 3rd, minus 33. Carlos Miller in 4th, minus 35. Hallie Anderson Jr. is in 5th, minus 36. Cement Oskin is in 6th place, minus 42. Kobe Light in 7th, minus 43. Matthew Hall jumped up 22 positions in the point standings last week, and is now 8th in points, minus 46. J.O. Littleton is in 9th, minus 48. And then running out the top 10 early on is Charles Bowen in 10th position, minus 50. And we gotta see how it all plays out here in this one. And on the pole, it is the number 63 of Neil Zonka and the number 71 of our point leader, Juan Rodriguez, trying to get his third win in the first 4 races. In row number 2, we got Javier Vasquez and the number 88 of Wyatt McIntyre, the 32 of Sarah Taylor, and the 99 of Matthew Hall, the 17 of Great Victoria Benny, and the 33 of BP Ruiz, the 23 of Samantha Oskin, and the 25 of Bruno Giacomo, the 37 of Matt Black, and the 40 of Bradley Ream, the number 64 of Sammy Camara, and the 78 of Jeremy Isley, the number 51 of Alexander Lowe, and the 62 of Tracy McClure, the number 27 of Mark Richardson, and the 61 of Howard Anderson Jr., the number 80 of J.R. Wilburton, and the number 16 of Charles Bowen, the number 52 of Emily York Watson, and the 72 of Sonny Hoffey. And then how about this Caleb Rose in the number 47 here tonight, one of 4 drivers making the first start on the scene of these final 4 cars. The number 87 of Jonathan Stanowski, the 41 of Eric Sadler, and the 77 of Jacob Lee Rufus. And with that being said, first Matthew and then Mogul, who are lower picks to win here at Bristol for race 4 on the season?
Well, I'm not gonna jinx the 63 for fear of what happened at Darlington, or Juan Rodriguez because he's starting on the outside lane. I'm picking third place starter in the number 7 of Javier Vasquez for Logan Sport.
Well, my pick starts 1 place behind that. It's the number 32 of Sarah Taylor. I think she can take advantage of that car and take it to the front today.
Couple of solid pit stallions at the top 5. Track position will probably be a factor, and we will see if Javier Vasquez or Sarah Taylor can get to victory lane, or if the driver that's 1, 2 out of the first 3 of Juan Rodriguez will win once again. It will be Neil Zonka and the 71 of Juan Rodriguez, and it's posted in America for race 4 on the season for the Tractor Supply Co. 200. Great stuff for that inside lane. That's going to be where you want to be all night long here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. And a fantastic start from Sanka and Vasquez. And we got to see how it all plays out. The inside lane is going to be where you want to make passes, but you can slip up a little bit and move up to the outside lane and drop back. And how about the 7 all over the back bumper of the 63 on lap number 3?
And this is one of the newer drivers on the channel in Javier Vasquez, keeping up with good pace on Neil Zonka, one of ADEB's drivers. Sarah Taylor made it up to 3rd, and Gregory Benny in the 17 in 4th. Juan Rodriguez in the 71, I'm not even sure is inside the top 10 at that point. As a matter of fact, he did get to the outside lane, looking to get past the 23, but he's behind Alexander Rowe, who started outside the top 15, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's a very bad start for that outside lane in general, as many of people who started on that outside lane have dropped far back outside of the top 10 even for most. But what an amazing start for that number 7, instantly keeping pace with that 63 car, as he must be trying to make the overtake on the 63 car to take the lead of this race.
And the outside lane has absolutely no grip, and we've seen it all throughout the field the last couple of laps. If you get stuck on that outside lane, it's not gonna work out ever. It looks like if you can stay out front, you can kind of diamond it a little bit. But if you get stuck up top, it's not gonna end well. Sailor Taylor catching up to the top two, the self-proclaimed cheese cart according to trials at Daytona up here, and then the 17 of Greg Victoria Spinney is also on the move. But it's gonna be hard to make these passes. But the 7 looks faster than the 63. But it's one thing to catch up to him, it's another thing to pass him here at Bristol.
And I learned that the hard way at Darlington there. And good play there for Neil Zonka, holding on to the race lead, not really washing up too far on the outside lane, especially with now 3 cars directly behind him.
Yeah, and that 17 slowly closing in, as maybe that 37 in the back can catch up as well, as this field is getting close and close together. And now, because that 63 clearly does not have the pace at the moment, and it might be waiting for a mistake from that 63 car to see the 7 and the 32 behind him all pass him.
And definitely it's going to be hard to make these passes, but the top 4 under a blanket. 32 going to try and move the 7 out of the way. You might have to do a little bit of a bumper one here tonight at Bristol if you want to do that. And this is old school Bristol. This is, I believe, the default Bristol with a modified INI. So this is classic short track racing, and you gotta do what you gotta do. But right now, that 63 of Neil Zonka doing a great job out front. But got the 7, the 32, and the 17 all behind him. And Logansport, they've been very strong to start off the year. And trying to get the 2nd win on the year, I believe. Won at Daytona. And they got both of their cars up front. But how about Matt Black and the 37 for the top dragster network? Inside the top 5 here on the short track. You got the 64 of Sammy Camara, the 51 of Alexander Rowe, the 23 of Cement Oskin, the 80 of Jay Wilton, and the 52 of Emily Watson right out the top 10. And then all the way in the middle part of the field, you got the 71 of Alpoint leader Juan Rodriguez having a bad night, but he can't afford that. Here, BP Lee's right behind him, and then of course, Mark Richardson, Harrison Jr., Cement Oskin didn't race last week, so he can have a subpar night here tonight. But back up to the front, it is still really tight for the top 2 between Zonka and Vasquez.
Wow, that just really shows how bad the outside lane here is at Bristol. Not only is Juan Rodriguez dropped outside the top 10, Wyatt McIntyre in the 88, who I believe started in 4th, has dropped just almost outside the top 20 at this point, and Javier Vasquez is looking closer and closer to getting past the 63 there. Hopefully it doesn't end up in a wreck.
Hopefully for him it does not, but for the championship it might be not necessarily fun, but more exciting at the front. If we see him wrecked, seeing how good he has been so far. But currently at the front, it's still the 63, the 7, the 32, 17 close together.
I believe there's some debris, and I think the 16, the 16 got tight off turn 2. That's one thing I forgot to mention. You can't get a little bit tight off of turn 2 sometimes, and that's what happened to Charles Bowen. And I think here in this race we could see some lap traffic. Unlike Toledo, these guys going a lot faster, and we could see some lap traffic. And you mentioned the 88 of Wyatt McIntyre, Matthew, started 4th and has fallen back all the way to 25th position, maybe 24th, but not a good night from that 88 car who did race last week for White McIntyre, but not a good one here tonight. And looks like the top 8 have broken away from the rest of the field. So if we catch up to lap traffic here with about 23 laps to go, then that could get very interesting.
Oh, as the
Oh,
32 goes up wide and is probably going to get a whole lot of cars overtake her now if she gets stuck on that outside lane.
okay. Alexander Rowe goes up to the 6th position, getting past Sammy Camara. And Gregory Benny and Matt Black do get by Sarah Taylor. Rowe almost loses it there and does get into the top 5. Sam Oskin now don't make
Oh,
green
that was
right there.
close.
A bit of contact there. Sarah Taylor going to fall back to the 8th position. And if we do get back up front here,
Whoa!
almost thought there was a
Oh
caution
my
there at
goodness!
one point.
Oh, and
And Sarah Taylor in the wall again.
I don't know what is going on. I think maybe someone had a problem. Not entirely sure, but oh my goodness, and I think these old tires, there is a little bit of fall off here for these guys, and I think that's affecting them, and later on in this race, they are getting sideways and loose and everything here in this one. But these two, I think, are the best 2 cars here tonight, and they are starting to break away from third on back. But how about Logan Sport? Might get a 2-3 here tonight. Matt Black in the 4th spot, and Alexander Rowe in the 5th spot. But that's exactly what happens here at Bristol. It might be a little bit racy here, but regardless of it being racy, you don't want to be on the outside lane, and that's what happened to Sarah Taylor from 3rd all the way to the 7th spot in a hurry. And we only got 16 laps to go, and it's still the top 2 breaking away from the field.
It's gonna be harder and harder to try and get past this 63 here, as Neil Zonka trying to do what Chase Buck did in the Wawa Cup Series 2 years ago, leading almost every single lap from pole position. Or wait, did he start from pole? Not sure.
He did, I think.
Okay. Leading from pole position to lead almost all but 2 laps, if I remember correctly.
Oh no! Oh no! The 61
Oh, Haley
One is
Anderson.
with a suspension
Thankfully, she
failure.
stopped on the apron.
Oh, is that a caution? No, we are on the green still.
Yeah,
We're still
luckily.
green.
Luckily for Hallie Anderson Jr. and the field stopped on the apron. But tough play for Hallie Anderson Jr. Did not race last week, and unfortunately, Bristol once again is not going to be Hallie's friend this year in the Pro Series. But we got 11 laps to go in the eventful race, but dominated by these top 2, but it's been absolutely chaos from 3rd on back.
Yeah, but that 63 seems to be pulling away a little from that semi car. As never mind, the gap has closed back up. But
Not
oh,
quite.
go ahead.
Sorry about that, Robo. I was about to say the 63 lost 3/10 to the 7 of Javier Vasquez. I thought they caught up to lap traffic, but I don't think so. Charles Bowen is still quite a ways ahead of this top 2. And there's Juan Rodriguez in the 71.
Yeah, I was just was about to mention the lap traffic and that we probably wouldn't be catching it, which is sad to see because it could have spiced up this battle for the lead even more, as they are continuing to be very close. And I wonder if the 7 might try a last ditch effort to maybe get by that 63 to still get this race win.
It's gonna be close. Looks like the 7 is closing back in again. Seems to do this every couple of laps, and then loses a couple of tenths at the same time. Enters high. Gonna try and maybe diamond it. It's gonna be close. I don't think we will catch up with lap traffic quite in time. A terrible night for our point leader Juan Rodriguez, but he did have that buffer, luckily. But that buffer's gonna be gone going into Thompson next week. And someone else just had a problem.
Someone's
The
down pit
32 of
road.
Sailor Taylor just blew up, and that was the top 10 car before that happened. Oh my goodness.
And now, because of that, Caleb Rose is in the top 10.
How about that?
I guess I jinxed it with picking her.
Well, anyways, 2 laps to go for Neil Zonka to try and hold on to the lead from Javier Vasquez in the number 7. And smooth sailing there for the 63.
Oh, got a really good one off turn number 4. One of the best ones yet. Closest to the back bumper all night long. Will the 7 bump the 63 out of the way? The 63 goes wide. The 7 trying to make a move, but it's not going to be close enough from flag to flag. In an eventful race from third on bat, it will be Neil Zonka dominating at Bristol here tonight in the Tractor Supply Co. 200.
Wow. That was definitely the race. That was definitely a entertaining race there. I really thought the 7 had it in him to try and get past, but fair play to Neil Zonka leading every single lap.
Yeah, I did not see that coming, especially with the pace the 7 had. But the 63 just was able to hold its line and defend from Javier Vasquez. And yeah, he really deserved this win.
Absolutely have the best car here in this race. I think it would have been interesting if, like you said, well, if we caught up with lap traffic, and we almost did, but if that would have affected things. And Vasquez almost got there. I thought we were going to see something like last week at Toledo and have a last lap pass for the win. But that 63 car of Neil Zonka was just so good out front. But third on bat was absolutely crazy here tonight, and we saw some cars get tight in the second half of this race, and some at the wall off turn 2, kind of like last week at Toledo. And that's going to be interesting of how that all plays out. But unfortunately, Howie Anderson Jr. with a suspension failure, and Sarah Taylor, who was running in 7th, I believe, was around there, ended up blowing a motor, unfortunately. But Zonka, Vasquez, Victorious Benny, Blatt, Oskin, the top 5, Woe, Kamara, Watson, Wimbledon, and how about Caleb Bowles? He started, I believe, in the 23rd position here in this race, and he comes home in 10th. Jacob Lee Rufus started, I believe, last in this one and got 11th. So clearly, if you started in the bat and on the inside lane, you could make up a ton of spots, and that's what Caleb did. Sonny Hoffey as well. So deep in the field, Bruno Diacomo, Jeremy Isley, Chase McClure, the top 15, B.B. Ruiz, Richardson, Wyatt McIntyre, Jonathan Stanowski, Eric Saller, Bradley Juan Rodriguez, 22nd, started 2nd, finishes 22nd. So that just tells you of where Bristol is, but you don't want to start on the outside lane. It's definitely one of the worst here. And the bright side is that BB did get 16th, not too much of a difference, same with Mount Richardson. So, still will be the point leader by quite a bit going into Thompson next week. But a chaotic race from third on bat. What's the final thoughts here from race 4 on the season at Bristol Motor Speedway?
Just proved how dominant the outside lane was. Neil Zonka won the race, and Juan Rodriguez came home 22nd. And thankfully for Rodriguez and BB Ruiz is that they had a pretty big lead over the rest of the field. Very free back is Mark Richardson, and he finished outside the top 10 as well.
Yeah, it was a bad day for people in the outside lane, generally speaking, as we saw as we saw them fall back quite a bit, which they never seem to be able to recover from. But New Zonka having maybe the second best car behind Vasquez, but just being able to show how dominant that inside line was indeed, as he was not able to get past at all.
Absolutely, definitely had one of the two fastest cars. Who knows if we have lap traffic, and maybe if the 7 just bumped and won the 6-3, even though you would not have like that, Matthew. But it was definitely a fun one, nevertheless, here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and we'll see how it all goes down next week at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park in Connecticut. I've never done a race at that track before, but I know Caleb did last year for the Lenovo Pro Series, and I remember that race absolutely slapping. So I think that one will be another good one. 3 straight short tracks in a row next week here in the Lenovo Pro Series. Signs for that will go up here shortly. And thanks for Matthew and Local for joining me up here in the booth for this one. And we will see you guys next week at Thompson for race 5 on the season.